And we're live.
Hey,
Yo,
how y'all doing?
good. It's been pretty good. You're back. You're home.
Yeah. Hey, how was
I am home. I'm
MAGfest?
back. It was miserable.
Oh man, that sucks.
I had a shit time.
Oh no. Well, actually, before you get into it, was it miserable because of something that
Oh no,
happened
the
at the
con
show,
itself was
or
great. The
because
actual
of something you
con was
did?
fantastic, but I did not get to experience most of the convention. So,
Mm.
Was this a self-inflicted miserable time?
not necessarily.
Okay.
More so peer pressured into.
Whoa.
So, I was very
EP.
upfront and have been very upfront for a while that I did not want my first convention back to be a work con, which is
Yeah.
doing Throne controllers. And I basically got uh
He
outvoted,
peed into
let's
doing
say.
it.
What?
He peed into doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just got peer pressured into it. Yeah. So
That
decided to run
sucks.
it, and I basically could not work on it for like the 2 weeks before we left. So I only could work on it at the convention, which meant I missed the entirety basically of Friday and Saturday, or sorry, Thursday and Friday. And then I only
Yikes.
got 5 hours of sleep before the show, and then had a panic attack on stage
Oh
during the
Jeez.
show,
god, that's the worst.
uh,
Holy
because I
cow.
literally was, as I was setting up, I literally could not remember how to do the setup. My mind just blanked and I started freaking out. I actually
Mm.
had to go hide behind the stage and like sit in the dark for a bit. And a friend had to come over and talk to me for a bit.
Yo, this sucks.
Yeah, no, it fucking sucked. So the show went all right for the most part. We had a glitch we could not have foreseen. It wasn't an issue on our side. It was just a, oh, this is just bad luck kind of setup that we had to keep dealing with, but we fixed it halfway through the show.
Cool.
Um, and then like there's just little things here and there because was using a new version of Throne controllers, which is going to make setup faster in the future, but this was the first show, so it took the longest.
Right.
We did a meet and greet after with people, which went great. And then I went into my room and fell asleep for a half hour. Woke up, said, "Hey," I messaged a friends like, "Hey, let's go get food," and then passed right back out. Went downstairs. Me and my friend ordered food, and then I felt, I don't know, like a mental disconnect. Like I don't know what I was doing and what I was thinking weren't quite the same.
Hmm.
Apparently, I freaked out Reese and a bunch of other people that I saw because I just didn't seem like I was fully there. And because
Jeez.
I barely remember conversations with them. Reese was like, "Yeah, you said this, and it really bummed me out." I'm like, "I don't remember this."
Came down.
We
You
went.
said, "I hate all video games."
Oh, you know what? I probably would say that even if I was
Yeah.
perfectly like
True.
there. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I went down. We got food. Chilled out with a friend there for a while. Didn't hit the convention till like 8 p.m. Saturday.
Wow.
I don't want
And
to like swerve, but was there anything good about the weekend?
I did get to see people I hadn't seen in person before.
Okay.
Um, Picked up a couple things at the vendor hall. Panels
Hopefully
that we were
not
on.
con crud.
Not yet. I have
Okay.
been tired since we got back, but not like my usual sick tired. So
Just normal tired.
yeah, just normal tired.
Okay. All right.
Um, yeah. So the con is at least a 24-hour con. So I stayed down there till like 1 a.m. But then I was just so overexerted, I had to like go sleep. And I got back to the con at like noon, 12:30, and it closed at 2. So I basically got to enjoy like 7 hours of this 4-day convention.
You mentioned
Bummer.
the merch. Did you pick up anything cool that you can talk about?
Picked up a couple box games I didn't have already boxed. So
The Dragon's Lair.
yeah, this was one I've actually been looking for a while in good condition. This is Bionic Commando for the NES. This is one of my
Nice.
favorite NES games. So getting
I,
that one box was really nice.
there was something a few weeks ago. There was a question wrote in, and I can't remember what the question was, but I was trying to remember what game it was, and Dragon's Lair was the game.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
So if anyone happens to be listening to like 3 or 4 episodes back to back, they know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, no, I wasn't ready to go back to conventions. That showed me like
Mm.
that I actually kind of feel fucked up and worse after having gone to that con. So
Oh
like
God.
I haven't talked about this with viewers yet, but like we were gonna do PAX East. I'm not going.
Oh
I'm
man,
I'm canceling going to PAX East, and
I
everyone
just
else is
booked
going.
my flight.
Yeah, everyone else told me they're going. Reese is going. Tim's going. Emil's going. Yeah, I'm not. There's no throwing controllers. I'm staying home because
Fair.
that freaked me the fuck out.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna be dealing with that for a while.
It's different, especially like first convention back. I'm sure that was, you're
Yeah,
not used to all that. It's
first convention back after 3 years. People coming up to me, just all the stress of getting the damn show ready,
Yeah.
You
and
did
just like,
you
yeah,
did something
no.
in LA though. Paul and I were talking about this last week. I couldn't remember what it was called.
It was Indieland.
Indieland. Yeah, I did that
Is
in
that
November. Yeah.
is that considered a convention?
No, that was literally
Okay.
just a charity marathon stream that had like 50 people in the audience,
Oh,
basically.
okay, because I knew it had some kind of audience, but I wasn't sure the scale of it. Okay.
No, MAGfest had like 18,000, 19,000 people.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And PAX East is going to have like probably like 40, 50. So yeah, I'm not, if I couldn't handle MAG, I'm not ready for East.
The stress of
This will be
getting
my
the
first
thing
PAX East.
together, though, like that has to have played a huge part in a lot of it too.
What?
The whole getting together the show thing, I'm sure played a huge
No,
part
I mean,
in
that was
too.
the big thing. And
Yeah.
just, yeah, no, I
Maybe
knew. The problem was the people I told, hey, I don't want to do this my first show back. It's because I knew what was going to happen.
Right.
And yeah, and now they're all like, "Oh shit, yeah, you were right. We probably should have not done that."
Because even when like things weren't COVID-y and you were in the usual schedule, that thing got stressful every now and then for you because it's a lot to do.
Yeah, I got used to it though, but then I took a 3-year break. So like the best way to put it is 3 years of like stress kind of all came back at once, and it just overwhelmed me.
Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely something you got to ease your way into. What you
Yeah.
should do, you tell everyone you're not. You said you're not going to PAX East, and now,
Yep.
everyone who's listening, turn your mics off for a second, and it's just John and I talking now.
Okay, all right,
And
Sean.
you actually do go, and you like wear a
Okay.
disguise, and you just do
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
you want, and there's no
Here's the
obligations.
thing. I know you're joking, but I actually
No.
would love to do
No,
that.
you should actually do
I
that.
actually want to do that.
You should actually do that. And you and I will hang out, and we'll go do stuff in Boston as well, because I've never been to Boston. And I'm just
Boston's
saying.
great. You're gonna have a great time, but yeah, no, I can't. Even ignoring like say I got over this and stuff like that. We didn't put in for the panel, so we have the buyer passes,
Right.
and B, we actually can't have anyone. We have no one to babysit the cat. No one is to watch the cat. So
all right, everyone
So
can
it-
come back in who's listening to the podcast. Come back in the room.
there you go.
Everyone's allowed to hear this part now.
Turn off the spoiler alert light on.
Yeah,
and there you
exactly.
go.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry to anyone that's going to disappoint, but like, yeah, I just can't.
Hey, there's always another convention on the horizon. It's
Mhm.
it's not like you're retiring or anything like that. So
No, but yeah, I need to build myself back up.
And Paul, how was your weekend?
It's been fantastic. I took this week off, so I have had absolutely no stress whatsoever. I've had the exact opposite week.
I am jealous to the max.
So yeah.
That's great. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to my upcoming weekend. I'm going down to San Diego, and because it's down here, it's a long weekend. So we're going to San Diego, and then we're gonna hop the border because it's right beside Mexico, and I'm gonna go to Mexico for the first time for like
Going
a
to
short
Tijuana.
day trip. Tijuana, just to see what's going on. Excited to eat a whole bunch of tacos.
Sure.
I'm excited to go to the Comic-Con museum.
Sure.
See what that's about here. It's a cool museum, so that'll be my upcoming weekend. So I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Let's do the full main show now. Top 10 perspective for January 12th, 2023. I'm not going to do that every week. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
John Wheeler.
And Paul, you got a big list. What you been playing?
I finished off Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022 edition. That reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it. That thing is okay overall. It had some cool missions. One in particular that plays more like a strategy game where you're on a CCTV cam and you're like instructing one of your other operatives on like when to move and who to kill when, and that was kind of neat. Overall, though, like it's another one of those. That ending got me a little bit excited to see what they do coming up with the next one, because they introduce the like villain from the previous time they did this series or whatever. So that should be interesting. The no Russian dude is probably the best way to describe it to everybody, because that's more memorable than Makarov, which is his name. Yeah.
Well, hey, maybe the next one will be just in Game Pass.
Yeah, it could be. You never
Who
know.
knows? You know, yeah. I know it's not Modern Warfare 2 specific. It's more oh crap, what's the battle royale called?
Warzone.
Warzone.
Warzone. I've been hearing a lot about this DMZ mode.
Yeah, the demilitarized zone where you are. That's Tarkov essentially.
Yeah, have you tried any of that out? Like, I'm hearing that's
No.
getting a lot of attention these days.
No, I just jumped into the campaign to play that. I've been playing some of the deathmatch here and there, but like I haven't been doing a lot of the multiplayer stuff. I just wanted to get through that campaign and kind of see where they went with it. And it's pretty good. It's fun.
Right on.
You can definitely tell that they don't care about the single player content, because it was the buggiest mess that like that game is not buggy generally. Like I can play Warzone and it'll have issues and stuff, but the single player, I had to restart multiple times because the lighting would break, or like there was just weird glitches in that thing. That's just, they obviously just don't give a shit about that, because the thing that makes them money is the multiplayer stuff, which is fair enough, but it also sucks for people like me that actually want to play that part, especially since this is the series that never goes on sale, so it's always going to be like an $80-$90 game or whatever. But whatever, I guess.
You know, if you're just go play Titanfall 2's campaign again.
Just again and again. Yeah, every time.
Yeah, just every time you get the itch to play any kind of shooter campaign, just play through Titanfall 2 and have a great, evening.
I wonder,
treat yourself.
I wonder if going back to that game, if it would hold up. I should do that at some point when there's less stuff.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, maybe. The next game I played is one that I wanted to try last year, but kind of fell through the cracks. It's called Salamander County Public Television. This is literally just a collection of mini games with some weird bullshit story happening in between that's kind of funny and absurd.
I love this name.
It's pretty good, yeah. The basic premise is that you are a new guy or an intern working at Salamander County Public Television. Your ratings are going down, and when you are trying to find out what's going on, you find out about some weird alien conspiracy that's happening. But yeah, the way that it's presented is that every day you're filming a new show for the television network, and those shows are all just some weird WarioWare-esque minigame, but they're not WarioWare-esque in that they're quick, because they can be kind of long. And they have different objectives to get like gold, silver, or bronze. And it's fun. It's a fun little, I think the speed run of it's 20 minutes. They did actually, I watched it on GDQ, which is happening right now. And it's very quick if you know what you're doing, but if you're just taking your time through it, it's about 2 to 3 hours. So it's still pretty short. I jumped into Dwarf Fortress again, and that game is completely different when you can see what things are and it's not just ASCII art. Like, it's pretty incredible that I can look at the map and just be like, oh, I have this much wood, just by like glancing and not having to mouse over things or do weird cursor things. So that thing is super, super cool. And still,
it's got like a whole introductory now, and that was kind of one of the big,
it has a huge tutorial on how to get started. But even then, it doesn't tell you enough to like keep you going, so you still have to kind of dig a little bit, which is fine, because that's what all these games are. I have yet to have a real good, successful start where the dwarves are happy, they're eating regularly, they're farming decent. The farming might as well be like casting magic at this point in real life, because I don't understand how the fuck they're supposed to farm in that thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. I need to do more work in there. But Dwarf Fortress is dope. That thing's cool.
Dwarf Fortress is super interesting, and I just kind of want to direct everyone's attention to this PC Gamer article from 2016 called The Most Ridiculous Patch Notes from 10 Years of Dwarf Fortress. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to give you a couple highlights. Made them care about clothes more.
Yeah. So, like, for people who don't know, I guess the big thing about Dwarf Fortress is that all of your dwarves kind of have their own AI. You don't control any of them. What you do is you say, like, what needs to be done and, like, what priority they are. And if the dwarves aren't being shitty, they will do it, but they'll do it their own way. You don't, like, directly control them and say, you need to mine now. You make one of them a miner and then say this, like, area needs to be mined or whatever. And then they'll just do it based on if they want to sometimes, or, like, can or whatever.
Stopped soldiers from going to parties.
Okay.
Fixed a problem with blood hanging in the air.
I mean, that, yeah.
Cleaned up the bear situation.
Okay, I would like to know what that is.
It was a pretty big situation.
I would like to know specifically.
Aerial births. Rain kills everything it lands on.
That's a big problem.
That is a big one.
Dwarves play tug of war with caged animals marked for slaughter.
That's weird.
Serpent men can kick. Okay, I'm not going to read all these, but it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And it's a great article.
It's one of those games for, like, yeah, even when you started off, one of the intro things when you create a world is, like, how much history do you want your world to have? And you're like, I don't know, 50 years, 100 years, 10,000 years, whatever. And what it'll do is it'll actually generate things that have happened in that world in text, like as lore, essentially. So if you do 10,000 years, you'll just be waiting for like 10 minutes while all this text starts filling up the screen of, like, princess whatever slays whatever person at this party, or dragon attacks that, like, it'll just make up this weird lore for the land you're in.
Right. So you as the player can kind of get in the correct headspace.
Yeah.
As you begin to live in this society. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's this weird, like, old style text RPG type thing with modern colony management stuff and like some basic farming sim stuff as well. It's weird. That thing is super weird, and, like, definitely one of those, this is a notable thing that everybody should probably try at least once, but it is a little expensive, so I definitely wouldn't blame people for not buying in sight unseen.
I think I mentioned this when it first came to Steam, but there was that thread on the Steam forums of someone saying, like, why is everyone giving this, like, such great reviews, having only played, like, 2 minutes of it? Were you guys just, like, waiting years to give these people $30? And it was like 60 plus pages of people just responding yes.
Yeah it deserves
which is
it.
Just incredibly wholesome.
Yep.
Those people, like, never have to work again. This thing has done so well for them.
Yeah, I remember reading some story about, like, the developers, like, parents or family member, or maybe one of like them or something, was having some medical issues and they weren't able to afford something. Then they put the game out, and now they put the game out. It's like, oh yeah, they're, like, millionaires now.
Yeah. Oh, I think, like, the reason they had to do this was, like, yeah, we needed health insurance.
We need the insurance.
Just, like, keep doing this. And yeah, now they're millionaires. So good for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing's insane. Another game that kind of fell through the cracks because it came out during Game of the Year stuff, and that I wanted to try was Chained Echoes. This is...
I've also been hearing a lot about this.
This
Chrono
is a
Trigger, right?
new RPG, done a lot like SNES era RPGs, turn-based. The thing that is super cool about it, though, is that I think the combat system is phenomenal. I really like what they're doing. They have kind of an overdrive meter, and what this means is that when you're in this sweet spot of, like, overdrive by doing just whatever, doing attacks or healing party members taking damage, you move on this meter to a certain spot, and when you're in this sweet spot, you start doing more damage, you take less damage, and you want to kind of stay in there. The trick is, though, is that if you don't do certain things to, like, reduce the amount of overdrive, you will go into, like, the red zone, and when you go into that zone, you take like double damage or way more damage from enemies, and, like, it's really bad. You, like, overheat. And so there's this kind of cool play of doing different things with your party to make sure that you kind of stay within this, like, this main area of overdrive so that you never go into overheat and you're never like fully out of it, so that you're doing less damage, and it forces you to kind of use the different characters' abilities more than you maybe would. Because a lot of problems I've had in RPGs before is, why would I ever use something that isn't this ability or whatever, because this ability will like always just win, and this is kind of a cool way to make you do some other things. Also, the abilities that the different characters have are cool. The fact that you basically have 8 party members at any time is pretty cool. Now, I will say it's an RPG, so it took about 3 hours to get past the like intro stuff, and the game is like just starting now. But the way they build it up is pretty cool. They have a lot of different little side stories that came together into the one big story that you're into, and that's kind of how they introduce all the different characters, or a bunch of the different characters rather. I know there's more that I haven't met yet. It's just beautiful looking. It's a great throwback game. It's absolutely fantastic.
You know, that's on Game Pass.
It's on Game
Pass. It's made by one dude.
It's on Game Pass. It's made by one dude. I definitely think if I had a Steam Deck, I would buy it on Steam still, because this seems like it would be great on that thing.
Or you just get a Steam Deck and then you play it in the cloud. Done. That's best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, maybe. I would probably still buy it.
What I did this week is I got Xbox Remote Play working on my Steam Deck.
Okay.
So now I can also play it in bed, just streaming it from the Xbox.
Pretty good.
Yep.
I have a lot to go through in that game. I was talking to somebody and they said they didn't do 100%, did like all the side quests that they could or whatever, and they have about 50 hours in it. So It's one of those.
Yeah. Ooh, buddy.
Yeah. If you like Chrono Trigger and like that style, the Final Fantasy 3/6 type of like gameplay, but more modernized. Like, one of the things I really like too is that you heal and get full TP, which is your mana essentially, between every battle. Because
that's so fantastic.
Because they know that like when you are able to buy food and potions or whatever, you're just gonna buy a bunch and heal between battles anyway. So like, let's just
like,
make it.
Point?
Yeah, what's the point? Exactly. Yeah, no, that thing is super cool. Chained Echoes. People should check that one out. And just today, it came out, and I played it through just right before this podcast. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider, the new Joy Masher game.
Hell yeah. How was it?
It's fucking awesome. It's so good.
Yeah, baby.
This is definitely a John game, because it is based on Strider, Ninja Gaiden type things with a little bit of Mega Man in there.
Yeah, it's basically Hagane if you've ever played that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The big knock against it is that I think it's a $20 game or something, and this game is 2 hours long. It is very short.
It is 10% off on Switch right now, at the very least. I know that.
Yeah. So if like
it's 10% off on Steam as well, I'm just saying.
If you're one of those people that are just like, I need a little bit more game for $20, I get it. It's probably not something you should like wait for a sale on. I thought 2 hours is fine for this because of what it is. And I could go back and try to get S ranks on every stage or whatever, which is kind of the thing, the replayability in this. It doesn't have a New Game Plus, which is kind of a shame. It doesn't have a difficulty select, which is a little bit of a shame.
I can kind of see that because like, so these are the same, Joy Mash, the same devs that did Odalis and
Blazing Chrome.
Oniken and Blazing Chrome, yeah.
And Oniken.
Blazing Chrome had difficulty switching. I don't think Odalis did. One of the two didn't. So like they're 50-50 on that. But I don't be surprised if they just patch it in later anyways.
Yeah. It doesn't really need it. It's not too hard, and the checkpointing is pretty fine. If you want to be good at it, there is a upgrade or whatever that is the glass cannon upgrade or chip or whatever you want to call it, and that'll make it so you die in one hit, like if you want to challenge yourself. And they kind of expect you to do the different stages and try to get the S rank by going through it fast, killing a bunch of enemies and not dying. So that's kind of the replayability of it. If you like Joy Masher games and like the throwbacks, if like Hagane is something that you hear and you're like, oh, okay, I know what that is, you should probably pick it up because it's made for you. But if you're not already intrigued or whatever, then I would probably just wait for a sale, or maybe if it came to Game Pass or something, because I think it is a little light on gameplay for how much they're asking for it personally, but I think it's very good. That's all I've been playing.
John, you don't have anything worth bringing up?
Didn't play anything because, getting ready for MAGfest and stuff. The only thing I can bring up is while I was at MAGfest, I got to play a couple arcade games, and the big one was F-Zero AX, the arcade version of F-Zero GX.
Wow.
So they had a machine there that had like the tilt controls and everything. So like as you turn and go around corners, like it swings around. It was just really fun to play. But
GX,
it's also
the GameCube one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the arcade version. It had like a smaller roster, but all the tracks were new. It was just fun to play. Like it's just a nice, cool, enjoyable arcade game.
Cool.
Otherwise, yeah, like I only just played stuff in the console room, like GoldenEye. I got to play a bunch of 4-player GoldenEye, and I got to play Wario's Woods. And they had a cool challenge area. Like so, MAGfest does this thing every year, or at least almost every year, where they have a challenge area where if you clear these challenges, you earn points, and you can get like little swag and stuff like that there. But they had it set up that like you scan a barcode on your pass, and then they're all like these weird custom challenges they made, like play through Mario, like Tall Town Mountain of Mario 64 with a SNES controller. However, the star at the top of the mountain is now even higher on top of the mountain, so you had to figure out how to get that. Run through 1-1 in Mario 1, but you cannot stop at all. If you touch a wall or anything, you instantly die. I'm trying to think of one of the more interesting ones. Oh yeah. Every Maverick in Mega Man X1 on a shuffler, but you have your same health bar through all 8 fights. So if you take a hit in one, you have that damage in all the others. And there'll be all these, like, you can just clear them normally, and then there's like a bonus of, like, in the Mega Man X case, it was like, okay, beat them all with just the Buster, don't use your powers. It was like stuff like that. Like they're all like really cool ones you can do. One of the ones I did get a chance to do, because I only got on this challenge station like a half hour before the con ended, was you're playing through 4 Sonic stages at the exact same time, but every time you pick up a ring, it jumps to one of the others.
Oh man.
So you're not controlling 4 Sonics.
No, there is a different one. There's one where they have you doing Rainbow Road as Mario and Luigi. So you're player 1 and player 2 controlling them at the same time, and you have to have them both finish the race.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, no, it's like there's cool challenges like that. There's like a bunch of like really neat stuff. So I wish I'd gotten to do more of that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I played.
Cool. I've been playing Gotham Knights over the past few weeks and just finally finished it up this weekend.
How long is that? I've been meaning to play it, but the dude I usually play games with has had COVID and has had family like over or whatever for Christmas, and like it's been a while.
I really don't know how long it was.
Okay.
Probably somewhere around I want to say maybe 10 to 15 hours.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. I like, it was so broken up. It's hard for me to kind of keep track. I think this game is fine. You should definitely play it co-op. It's a lot more fun. I could say that about every single game, but I just think this game would not be very enjoyable if you were by yourself. And they kind of do the Destiny thing of like, hey, we have some really cool like campaign missions, but you can only go play these campaign missions after you do a bunch of just like grinding little stuff out in the streets. Once you've done enough of those, we'll let you get to the campaign mission. And the grinding stuff is just, it's boring. It's like, all right, you're going to go over to this section of Gotham and you're just going to do the Batman combat. And you're just going to do it over and over again. And the enemies are going to get like denser. So they're going to take longer for you to kill. So you're just going to do the Batman combat for longer. Or, and it's really annoying, they make these enemies that can like disappear for like a second, and then you have to wait for them to reappear.
Fun.
So they just make the fights even longer. And then they give you enemies that you have to stun them, or they'll dodge every single one of your attacks. So you have to do like a charge up attack to stun them. Then you do the Batman combat, and then they get unstunned, so you have to stun them again, then do the Batman. So they just make the fights longer.
Oh, I see.
So it's just kind of like, all right, why don't you go do this for like 20 minutes, and then we'll let you do like a 20-minute really cool mission where you're like taking on Mr. Freeze.
Right.
Oh, and now that part of Mr. Freeze's campaign is done, why don't you go do some grinding for 20 minutes, and then you can take on part 2 of Clayface's thing. Oh, now why don't you go grind for 30 minutes, and then you'll get the next part for Mr. Freeze. And those campaign parts that are villain specific, they're unique stages. There's some fun mechanics, and the boss fights are usually pretty interesting, and they're pretty over the top. But the stuff in between is just like the most tedious that Batman could possibly get. This is like the 5th Batman game I played, not including every other game that stole the Batman combat. So I'm like really good at hitting X a whole bunch, and then hitting B to dodge, and then hitting X a whole bunch, and then maybe holding Y to do a stun attack, and then hitting X a bunch. But when you have a friend there, that's kind of fun as well. I chose to play as Red Hood because I was very curious how the Batman combat translated to someone who just uses guns.
Sure. Yeah.
He just punches people with guns in his hands.
That's hilarious.
So everyone gets a melee attack, which is Red Hood punching people while holding guns, and then they do have a ranged attack, which like Batgirl, she throws batarangs. Red Hood just shoots people. So it was always funny where it's like, hold on, I know this person's weakness. It's bullets. While my friend who's Batgirl is like shooting or like punching him, I'm just shooting them with bullets and stuff. And then here's the craziest part. So they keep bringing this like Batcopter, Batplane. They keep mentioning it, and it's like, oh sweet, I'm gonna get to fly around Gotham. No, you unlock fast travel parts that the Batplane will like warp you to and then drop you out of the sky. So at no point do you get to like use the Batplane. And because you're not like Batman, the traversal is really weird. So if you remember in like Arkham City and the previous ones, Batman would like launch himself in the air and then glide for like a while. And he had some ways to kind of boost him a little bit. So you were like almost flying. Well, because they have to account for 4 people, each person gets kind of a different thing. For example, Batgirl's is pretty similar to Batman's. She glides. Jason Todd, Red Hood, who doesn't have a cape, I bet you can't guess how he does his aerial traversal.
Does he spin
shooting?
He spins his guns really fast or something?
No. So since he came back from the Lazarus Pit,
yeah.
And to be fair, I haven't read every Red Hood comic, so I don't know if this is canonical.
Oh no!
But he has magic powers. He gets Mystic Leap, which means he frog jumps in the air while glowing green. Because you just continuously Mystic Leap as you slowly kind of descend, because it has to kind of replicate gliding, because that's what the other people do.
So weird.
Everyone also gets it's called like a knighthood ability, where they can do like a real special attack. I only know Red Hood's, but he has this one where he like, he takes out his guns and he like aims at people, and you need to kind of hold the targeting reticle on several people until it like fills up.
Okay.
And I kid you not, he shoots a ghost at everyone. It's like a Lazarus Pit ghost thing. He just shoots that out and it bounces around and it does a bunch of damage. But the first time I did it, my buddy was like, "Did you just shoot a ghost at them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Batman taught me how to do it, I guess. I don't know."
Weird. All right.
Yeah. People are asking, is it just 2 people? Can you split up? Yeah, it's not 4-player. It's 2-player co-op. There is some kind of end game, or I shouldn't say end game, because you can get it earlier, but it's like high level. It's kind of end game content that they added afterwards. But you can team up to 4 people, and it's kind of like a horde mode style, which sounds like the most tedious way they could have made these fights go even longer. So I didn't do any of that. But for the campaign, it's 2 players. They can split up. I don't know if it was the Xbox version, but we found if we started getting pretty far apart, the game would crash.
Oh.
But we were like pretty far apart. It was kind of surprising how far we were able to go. For the most part, we were like, hey, why don't you do this objective while I go over here and start fighting these people for the second one, and you catch up. But then the odd couple times where we just like completely split across the map, the game would like drop to like 1 frame a second, and we were just
Wow.
hoping the game would crash because we were kind of stuck.
Yeah. Wow. That sucks.
But like I said, like for the most part, when you're doing like the taking on the actual rogues gallery, those missions are pretty fun. And yeah, it was pretty funny that I just got to shoot bullets at every single enemy.
Pretty good.
And then this week I've been playing a whole bunch of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion.
Okay.
I think is the full title.
Did you play the original?
I did. I
Okay.
could not tell you a single thing from that. That game has basically left my mind.
Okay. I was going to ask like how this compares, but that's too bad.
I think what's the comparison that's running through my head is I'm comparing this to Remake.
Right. It's
and
not
I'm
like
comparing
that.
it to, and I'm comparing it. Oh, I'll say I finished God of War Ragnarok this weekend. That's fantastic game.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought that game was fantastic. So I'm also comparing it to that because this is another
Okay.
character action game.
Sure.
With, like, it's basically the similar combat, right?
Sure. Okay.
This game looks like shit compared to those other two games.
Of course it does. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that's a little unfair, but I just came off of God of War, which might be the nicest looking game I've ever played. And then I go to this and I'm like, oh, this is definitely an old game that you just put a new coat of paint on.
For sure.
That's kind
it's
of
super
what I
unfair,
keep
but I
coming
get where you're coming from. 100%. Yeah.
And then I can't help but compare it to Remake because they've changed the models to make them look like Remake's models,
Right.
but just worse if it was like on last gen consoles, basically.
Sure.
Even like the animations and stuff just seem like rigid and like old to the point of like, for the most part, these characters, unless it's a close up on their face, don't blink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this definitely feels like an old game that they made look nicer. And then I understand they revamped the combat system and it's just like remakes, and that's totally fine. I find it really easy. I think I've died maybe once and I had a Phoenix down, so it just revives you. But that's also because I'm doing every single one of the like side missions that open up, and those are just kind of mind-numbingly repetitive.
Yeah.
But it's also the progression is weird because you can't see how much experience you have. You don't get experience. You just level up when the roulette wheel says so.
Well, I mean, the roulette wheel will spin and then level you up when you have a level up. But yeah, it's
Right.
just hidden.
But you don't know when you're close to it. So from like a visual identification perspective, it's just like, hey, maybe I'll level up this time because it's been, I don't know, 25 minutes.
Mhm.
Usually every 25 minutes or so I level up. I don't know. So that's kind of weird. I've also noticed, and I don't know if this is actually happening or if you notice this, Paul. So you do the side quests.
Yeah.
And the way for those who don't know, the way the side quests work is they just drop you into like a generic dungeon or field or building, and somewhere on the map it will be an enemy on the field. Otherwise, it's just random encounters at specific locations, though.
Right.
And the way all the hallways work is you can clearly tell, oh, this part of the hallway gets a little wider.
Yeah.
There's probably an enemy going to be there.
If
you run around the edge of every map, of every hallway, if you hug the wall, you will not trigger the enemy encounter.
Sure, but I never want to not because I want to level up. This is an RPG.
I avoid it every time, and I just run to the one enemy I'm supposed to kill, and then I finish the mission.
Okay.
And again, I've been leveling up just fine. Again, I'm finding it quite easy, but I'm in chapter 5, I think.
Okay.
Whichever one lets you do the squat challenge.
Yeah.
I just did that.
Okay. Yeah.
Crushed that dude. He had no idea how good these quads were. I'm the squat champion of Shinra.
Of course.
So I think I'm about a third of the way done the game based on how long to beat.
Yeah. Cool. You're enjoying it overall?
It's fine. I think what I'm excited about is it's an RPG that's like 15 to 20 hours long.
Right. Yeah. It's not
so
crazy
I'm looking
long.
forward to kind of getting to that pretty quick since I'm already like 6 or 7 hours into it.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's all I've been playing. So before we go to news, I just want to mention, because I was supposed to do this earlier on,
Okay.
some housekeeping.
Okay.
PvP fans, Paul and I's 2022 wrap-up episode went live on Monday. So we went through our favorite shows and movies and whatnot of the year. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can go check that out right now. And for our $10 patrons, you can submit a game for February's poll, which will be happening next week. That's live right now. And if people did not hear, January's game is Lego City Undercover. So we'll be doing an episode about that at the end of the month. With that said, let's do some news. Nintendo, or Game Freak, I guess, specifically, has come out and said that they are going to issue a patch for Scarlet and Violet that is coming in late February, which seems so far away. Why would you announce this right now?
Probably because people were complaining it was going to affect their bottom line if they didn't get anything out soon.
Well, they're not getting anything out soon. Except for this announcement.
A message.
Yeah, a message. Yeah. So, I mean, they've said it's going to have bug fixes and quote unquote added functionality, which I hope doesn't make it run worse.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if it somehow made the game run worse?
Yeah, it's like, hey guys, we've added this new feature in it, and yeah, it runs like shit as well with the rest of the game. I think I would take no new features, just bug fixes, personally. But I am curious, and I guess, yeah, this is 4 to 6 weeks away, so I'm probably going to be done that game by then. Moving on, Ubisoft had a big, I don't know if it was like an investor call or what it was today, but they kind of came out with a little bit of news about what's going on, including delaying Skull and Bones for the 6th time.
Jesus.
Yep, 6. Count it, 6 times.
I'm not convinced this game is real anymore. It's been so many times.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I still remember like one delay ago when they said no, this has to come out. Wasn't that like the insider rumor? Is they've got to a point where this thing needs to be released? And I think since that point they have delayed it twice.
Insane.
Along with that, I believe they canceled 3 more games, which I think brings them up to like 6 canceled games in the last 7 months.
What is going on over there?
Ubisoft, facing, quote, surprisingly slower sales, has canceled 3 unannounced games on top of the 4 canceled in July, planning $200 million in cost reductions, including natural attrition and divesting of non-core assets. And then, yeah, Skull and Bones is now going to be released early 2023, all into 2024. So who knows when that's coming. And then another bit of news that came out was that I guess Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope underperformed for them.
Well, did they say what the actual sales numbers were? Because, like, it was critically acclaimed from what I remember.
Right, yeah, they did not, but critically acclaimed doesn't mean good sales. Just look at Titanfall 2.
True.
Yeah.
But also, Ubisoft seems to tend to have a very high barrier, just kind of like Square has, where they used to say Tomb Raider was like underperforming, but it sold like 3 million copies.
I guess Just Dance 2023 also did not meet sales expectations, which was the company's only other major release last fall.
Yeah.
Hey, they got 7 Assassin's Creed properties on the way, so I'm sure that's going to come help the bottom line a little bit.
I mean, if they survive that long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting time for Ubisoft for sure.
Count down to more rumors of sale again.
Yeah.
Xbox has announced a developer direct live stream that's going to be happening on January 25th. On here, they're going to be talking about Forza Motorsport, the kind of reboot of the main Forza franchise. Minecraft Legends, The Elder Scrolls Online, and Redfall. And as well, we should be getting release dates for Forza, Minecraft, and Redfall.
I heard you
Minecraft
say. I know you meant separate games, but I heard Forza Minecraft and got really excited.
Hey, I bet that's coming. Why not? That's probably more of a Horizon thing. But that would
That's
just be
just
the Lego
that's the
one,
sequel
wouldn't it?
to Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. It's just Minecraft kart.
There you go. I mean, they've already done like a dungeon crawler. They're doing RTS. I just wait for it, right? I'm sure it's coming sooner or later. Along the lines of live streams, Jeff Keighley has come out and said that the Summer Games Fest will be doing its live show on Thursday, June 8th. So stay tuned for more of that. And then this last one, more of a PSA, is that TMNT Shredder's Revenge came to iOS and Android this week through Netflix.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So
Yeah,
just another
really weird Netflix.
Hey, you can't make fun of it anymore. They have too many good games on their service.
I'm more confused than making fun of it.
These also seem to just keep coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't know about this until
last
now.
week. Pocket Card Jockey, right?
Yep.
Yep, that was another Netflix. No, that's Apple Arcade.
That's Apple Arcade. That's Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, Netflix has so many good mobile indie games on their mobile portfolio right now. But anyways, TMNT, and I hear it runs pretty fine, so that's very cool.
Neat.
All right, let's do some questions. topdownperspective@gmail.com is the email address, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box are all great ways to send your questions in. Kevin wrote, what are some games that drive you crazy?
Oh.
Mario Party.
I mean, I just don't
Yeah, I
like
can see
Mario
that for
Party.
you.
It doesn't really drive me crazy.
Neither do I,
though.
but when I have to play it, just more than I'd like to.
Fair enough. Any racing game that uses rubber banding, which is like basically all of them, drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anything that's like just super dependent on like luck versus like actual skill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mario Party.
100% orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that's like super like cheap or like one hit KO filled.
Yeah, like one hit kills in most things is the big one for me.
Right, but I mean, I can't think of a game that's like notorious to be full of it.
Besides like Super Meat Boy, where it doesn't matter and that's part of the game, like that's fine.
Yeah, that doesn't count. For
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Dad writes, as this month marks 1 year since the Activision Microsoft acquisition deal first started, I still see debates about brand loyalty in gaming discussions and why it matters. Does it matter to you? Will you swap internet or phone providers if you see a better deal, or change streaming subscriptions based on what you want to watch at that moment? Or will you keep what you know and justify a subpar service over taking advantage of new subscriber deals from competing services? Feel free to expand to other mediums with balanced competition, such as food delivery services or ride sharing. I will swap on like easy. I consistently cancel Game Pass if there's nothing I want to play on it and re-put it on when there is. I switched phone providers last year just out of nowhere. I broke a contract even. There was 6 months left on it to do it because they were fucking me. So yeah, I do not care about brand loyalty whatsoever.
Is there anything that you like stick with?
Nope.
Nope.
I'll even buy like something that is the cheap brand if it's just like something I need and it'll do. Like I don't care about any of that shit at all.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Paul on this. Basically, if a company fucks me over, I'm out. But if they don't, I'm just like, all right, well, I'll stick around. But like, it's not often there's like a better deal I feel like I need to jump towards.
There's that for sure. It's usually they're all pretty similarly priced, so it's usually more of a hassle because sometimes you have to sign a like contract in something or whatever. So, and then I just kind of lock in.
Yeah, I totally do not understand the brand loyalty when it comes to gaming. Like the whole like console war thing makes no sense to
I,
me.
I I get it in the sense of, hey, this is the system I ended up with, and I can't afford getting any of the others, so this is clearly the best one to kind of justify it. I get that, but like there eventually becomes a point where like A, they're either just all the same anyways, or B, you get a job and can't afford them, and as a result, there's no point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with most of that. I think the one part I would disagree on is justifying that this is the better one because it's the one I have.
You would be
No,
surprised.
I totally understand that that's what people do. I personally don't agree with that. Um, I think at some point you just have to be like, yes, I have a PlayStation and Halo looks like a fun game.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like it's okay to say that. No one's gonna like shun you or something like um but then again, growing up, I've always been someone who's like tries to have all the consoles and stuff because I wanted to play everything and
Right.
yada yada.
Mhm.
So I totally, but like the idea of like, oh, I would never play a Sony thing because like they've got nothing over there, or when everyone is like Xbox has no games, it's like that's a ridiculous thing to say. Like that makes absolutely no sense. Um, and then yeah, in terms of like internet, I remember I would jump. This is the last few years. I would jump back and forth between two internet providers because as soon as like my like 1 year contract deal they gave me was up, I would
Yep.
just be like, all right, bye. I'm gonna go do theirs. And
Totally.
then when theirs was up, I just came back. And then eventually someone showed up that just had such a fantastic deal. I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm gonna stick with you forever. And they've been fantastic for me.
Sure.
Um, yeah, I do keep Game Pass, but I also play Game Pass games every month,
Well,
so
your
I am
Xbox
absolutely
is your
using it.
main console. That makes sense.
That's the primary one I
Yeah.
want to play. Yeah, I'm not subscribed to PlayStation Plus,
Right.
but when Stray came out, that was the cheapest way for me to get to play Stray, so I subscribed for a month. Like,
Huh.
yeah, no, I am all for like do whatever. What's the cheapest way to play this game? Let's do it that way. Or what's the most convenient way for me to play the game? Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
You've got a very consumer-friendly strategy. I feel more than anything else there.
Yeah.
Rastman writes in and says, "At what point, if any, do you think speed running can be actively harmful?" It just depends on your personality, basically, because you can either get to a point where you just hate the game you love because you're grinding it out and just it becomes annoying to think about, or you get so obsessed with like trying to like break a record, hit your new PB, and when you don't, you get toxic because you can't hit it, or you start like hating on other people because they're doing the same and like they're doing better. But like those are kind of edge cases where they don't happen that often. So I would say more often than not, you kind of isn't.
I
But
feel like
that's
these are
just the
just
same with,
like
yeah,
these
same
are
with like
just like
anything.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is this is just kind of like obsessive behavior that you could tie to absolutely anything. If it is starting to give you a bad time,
Yeah.
don't do it. Like what? If how it can't be that worth it, right?
Yeah,
Well,
some people justify it.
there
That's the
are
thing.
there are people that literally their career and job is because they're a speedrunner and they can't necessarily not do it. So there is edge cases where that
Yep.
people have a harder time with that shit. I've seen
I,
some speedrunners implode because they started hating the series that they're known for and they basically aren't around anymore.
Yep.
I guess in those scenarios they can justify it a bit more because it is also while doing this they are making money on it and it is not just a hobby that they can turn off if need
Yeah,
be.
but like then it goes to what John was saying too of like not only do they hate their hobby, they hate the thing that they loved, the game, they also now lost their job, essentially. Like, when you're at that point, maybe speedrunning became harmful. But,
Sure, and I definitely know
Yeah.
people in like that like worked at GameSpot, for example, that when they left GameSpot, they were like, I got tired of gaming becoming also my job, and I
yeah,
wasn't enjoying gaming anymore. So I know people like that as well.
yeah, for sure.
Feel them on that 100%.
Hebrew Lantern writes, gamer publishing books They're a real company that I totally didn't just make up. Wants to publish the autobiographies of the hosts of TDP. Or they can offer you the deal. You need to come up with a title for the book. What is the title of your autobiography? So these are individuals, not like a podcast.
Oh, okay.
Autobiography.
Oh, I was on the wrong
hosts.
track for a second there.
That's what I thought it was in the autobiography of the hosts of
Gotcha.
TDP.
Peepin' Paul.
What?
Wow.
That is like an R-rated children's young adult novel.
R-rated children's novel?
Whatever the equivalent of like, like adult cartoons are. But it's that.
Right. Yeah.
Like Peepin' Paul airs on Adult Swim.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
At like 11 o'clock at night.
Exactly. Yeah. Right next to Aqua Team Hunger Force. Yo, did you hear that the Rick and Morty dude got arrested?
Yeah, Justin Roiland for domestic
charged.
abuse, I think.
Yeah, domestic abuse. Wow. What about you, John? Do you think you'd like lean into one of the memes for the title, or
it would be something like that. It would be something about like Pokey moving faster, more than likely.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to think like what would almost like trying to outrun Pokey, the John Wheeler story?
No, it'd be more like something like but the cactus refused to move or something stupid like that.
Okay.
Make it slightly dramatic sounding.
I have no idea. I'm trying to think if there's like an alliteration I can do like Paul did. I don't have anything great. Nope.
Yours could just be your name. Just Sean.
Sean Booker. Maybe there's something with like Booker and Book being pretty close. Maybe there's something
the Booker book.
Yeah, something fun in there. The Book of Booker.
Book
or
of
something.
Booker is what I thought too. Yeah.
Book of Booker. Yeah.
Pretty good. Suku writes, warm beer or ice in beer?
Don't drink. But I can imagine probably wouldn't want warm alcohol.
No, warm alcohol's a thing, right? Some alcohol you drink warm.
Some people.
Isn't sake warm?
You can. There's different forms of sake.
Yeah, you can ice that though.
There's yes and no, depending what type of sake.
I feel like Paul's
you get.
the most has the most insight into this.
So the thing is that I never want warm beer, but I also never want ice in beer because it waters it down. So I don't know which one is actually worse.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I also don't drink beer. The ice in the beer, is that at least nice for like 5-10 minutes?
No, because if it's good beer, then it came from a fridge or is in like a frosted mug or something. So then,
well, let's assume there is no fridge nearby. It is
like
not
it was just sitting there. Yeah, then I'm just not drinking it. So that's kind of so. I guess ice in beer is the answer because I'm not going to drink it warm. Period.
Okay, but if you took a glass of beer,
yeah,
and let's say it just came out of the fridge, but you want it colder or something. In some scenario, you want it colder.
Okay.
And you pour some ice in, you take a first sip. Is that first sip at least fine?
I think so.
Okay, so then the ice in the beer is at least fine for more than the warm beer is fine.
Yeah, there is a point where the ice in the beer will also be disgusting, but I think initially it's probably better than warm beer. Warm beer is disgusting.
Okay. I don't like warm drinks, period, so there's no way I'm picking that one.
Yeah, fair.
BGC Kenny writes, so Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the Pokemon games, weren't made by Game Freak. The quality of those games are debated, but the complaints center around how strictly it adheres to the original. Which leads me to this question. Do you think other studios should be giving the reins of Pokemon to do what it wants for a bit? I'm not saying take away from Game Freak completely. Excuse me. I'm saying that ILCA, as an example, do Gen 10 and Game Freak comes back with Gen 11 and it alternates like that? Or do you think Pokemon games need that specific Game Freak touch?
So do they go Call of Duty is basically the question.
Yeah, like a multi-studio thing.
ILCA, I'm pretty sure is the company that did Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Oh,
Does that
okay.
stand for the International Lactation Consultant Association?
No.
Close though.
That's what came up. No, I clicked into it. This is not Pokemon.
You don't say. It doesn't say what ILCA stands for, but they did a bunch of. They mainly did ports. It looks like they did the Game of the Year edition for Nier.
It's
They're
short
in that One Piece game.
It's short for I love computer art, apparently.
Oh yeah, there it is. I see it in their logo.
Weird.
Okay.
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Crimson Shroud, Drakengard 3, Chaos Rings 3, Yakuza 0, Godzilla, Naruto Shippuden, Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, Nier Automata, Code Vein, Nier Replicant, Nier Reincarnation, Voice of Cards, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, Voice of Cards, Forsaken Maiden, and Nier Game of the Year.
It's hard to tell what exactly the Game Freak touch is because they've made one game over and over again. So I can't really point to be like, oh yeah, all of Game Freak's games have this.
Well, Game Freak have made a bunch of different games. It's just,
They just all
they
suck.
spun off into the Pokemon company.
Yeah. They made Little Town Hero.
Hembo,
which was not reviewed well. They made Pulse Man.
Right.
They made Pembo the Badass Elephant.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Card Jockey. Okay, Card Jockey. Okay, so I was mistaken. They have made other games. So then what is the Game Freak touch? When you say what is a Game Freak game, what is distinctly Game Freak? Like
Brand
if I
loyalty.
said well, if I said like if I said Game Freak's gonna make the next Madden, what are you expecting in there?
Pokemon.
Probably
Pokemon, right? Like there's Pokemon playing football.
Probably football players that are like weak to certain elements that other football players can have or something.
Look, man, you're starting to sell me on Madden here. Stop it.
Yeah, like fire touchdown, fire Hail Mary attack.
Look, that's just NBA, or sorry, that's just NFL Blitz.
Look, I'm a big fan of anything being given to other studios to see their interpretation on it because other things existing doesn't take away from the original, so Pokemon's no different. You should give that to anybody that wants to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if they get free reign over it, but like when we saw it with Cadence of Hyrule, that was awesome. Or when Capcom got to make some Zelda games, those are very well regarded.
Sure. Any studio should do it. Why not?
I do like the idea of giving them more time between games. Let me ask you guys this, though, kind of a twist on the question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather new studio gets to work on the game, or Game Freak has to use like Unreal Engine 5?
Well, it would be on the Switch.
It's not gonna run on the Switch.
So I guess
I'm okay
like a
with
new
that.
studio
That's
because
fine.
the Switch is garbage and it can't run what they're doing now anyway. So if they release it on PC,
you'd get a better running Pokemon. You'd probably get a very similar Pokemon, but it would run really well and it would look a lot different.
But would it be on PC? Because then it won't run really well if it's not.
Let's say in this scenario, yeah, it'll be on a platform that can run it.
Okay, then definitely I would want that.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Would you I was gonna say, would you just get Temtem?
At this point, yeah, right.
Well, at this point, no, because they're doing open world stuff now, and Temtem wasn't open world. But maybe a few years ago, you would have gotten Temtem. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I see. The new Pokemon style is what you're saying.
Yeah,
I see.
Because Temtem is the old style in a different like engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, they should take longer to make these Pokemon games and just make them better. And
I
go ahead.
I just wonder if it's going to feel like it's gone the Activision route where they just have multiple companies working on it, and it's just like each one feels vastly different.
I'm okay with that because I've been saying for years, give me a new Pokemon experience.
Yeah.
Don't give me the exact same one with new Pokemon. Give me.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. Is the problem? You are taking a risk. Right?
I'm okay with that. I would be happy if Pokemon would take a risk. Just even one.
I feel like that's what Arceus was.
That was good. I was so happy with that.
All right, Phantom just writes in and says, "Ahoy, TDP crew! What's a food that you appreciate more as an adult than when you were a kid?" Eggs. I hated eggs as a kid.
Mm.
Okay.
Probably
Actually-
also pasta sauce. I didn't like pasta sauce growing up for some weird reason.
Okay, sure.
I'm not a big pasta sauce fan because I just don't like tomatoes.
That's
Mm.
fair.
I'm gonna say red meat. I didn't eat a lot of red meat as a kid. And then like it was like actively avoided kind of in my household, and then I started eating more of it growing up.
Brussels sprouts and asparagus specifically.
I like asparagus.
Yeah, asparagus
Can't
is
stand-
great. No,
Yeah.
couldn't
Can't stand
stand it
Brussels
as
sprouts.
good. Apparently, Brussels sprouts like they've changed just the version that they were selling on the regular, and that's why they actually taste better. They kind of like
Oh,
genetically
weird.
modified them.
Oh, okay.
So
Weird.
that's why it seems like more people like Brussels sprouts suddenly. It's because they're
And
literally
now
just
you
not
can
the
only
shitty
get
versions.
the like original Brussels sprouts flavor in the Brussels sprouts runts. Did anyone get that? Paul got that.
Runs.
whoosh,
Yeah.
whoosh.
Oh man.
So the thing is with bananas
yeah.
that they changed the way bananas taste, but banana runts are what original bananas tasted like.
Right.
Ah,
The more you know.
did not know that one.
Linebeck writes, what would you say is the video game equivalent of a Hallmark Channel movie? So let's think. Hallmark Channel movie comes out every year. There's a lot of them. They're kind of like low quality, but like
Yeah.
it's like comfort food, right? That's
Uh-huh.
what we're looking at. What is, but like a
And it's the same
repeated thing.
shit every time, basically.
Exactly. Like you know exactly what to expect, but that's what you want.
I mean, it's Pokemon, right? Until this big
I was
change.
gonna say it's Madden.
Madden's a good one. I saw
Sure.
in the chat the Discord, someone said the Jackbox party packs
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
is a real good one.
Yep.
Yeah, sports games are a really good one.
Yep.
Trying to think, like what comes out every single year? Call of Duty, I guess.
Yeah. They've had a
Like,
few
that's not
breaks,
really-
but that counts, I think.
That's not necessarily like feel good in the way of like a Hallmark Channel movie, since the other one is war.
Right.
I mean Hallmark movies they deal with some heavy shit.
P-Cross. That's great. That's a great answer.
Oh, there you go. It's the P-Cross games, right?
Yeah.
Just puzzle games, Tetris.
Yeah.
Tetris is the Hallmark movie of video games.
I don't think there's enough Tetris. Like, how many P-Cross games do you think come out each year?
Official or unofficial? Official, like 3.
Yeah.
Just nonogram in general, probably like 20.
And
Yeah.
then how many Tetris games come out each year?
Definitely not 20.
Negative
probably
one,
less,
maybe.
right?
Like one every 2 years or
yeah,
something.
like the average is half.
They
or
take
something.
one away every year.
Until
You
there's
didn't
one
invest
left.
when you had the chance.
For every 10 P-Cross games, we're gonna take one of these offline. It's us or them. You decide. You're doing this to yourself.
Right. Boardco2 writes, a week ago I was reading Phoenix Wright on PC. Reading Phoenix Wright on PC. I was using a special handheld mouse and I didn't have great posture, so I ended up having my wrist bent downward for several hours. The next day I woke up in pain in my wrist and have been healing it ever since. In other words, I fucked up my arm by reading. What's the most comedic injury you've gotten?
Wait, the wrist was down? What was this mouse? Why would you choose to do that?
They might have had one of those like cushion mouse pads, and then just like the
It puts
cushion
your
was too
hand
high
like
or
this?
something. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, this is why I don't read books anymore.
It does say handheld mouse, so maybe they were literally like holding it like
Yeah.
What
this,
mouse
and they just-
isn't handheld?
No, like literally holding it off the table.
Oh, they're just like maybe you're like on the armrest and just like clicking next.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Phoenix Wright doesn't require that much movement, so
Right. Comedic injury. I'm gonna throw my girlfriend under the bus here.
Okay.
I think 2 weekends ago, we were lying in bed and she rolled over to like come cuddle and she messed up her elbow badly.
Yeah, that's pretty
she
good.
was so when her friends were like, well, what happened to you? What happened to your elbow? She's like, I was trying to cuddle my boyfriend.
That's pretty good. When I was a child, I was getting up to walk and go somewhere, and there was a pillow on the ground. I stepped on the pillow and it kind of like slid me forward, and I crunched down on my leg and broke it from that.
Oh God.
So that was, it's comedic now, but it was fucking terrible.
When I was young, this would have been like grade 2 or something. I was on the playground with some kids, and you guys know flying foxes on a playground? That's like the thing where you like hang on and you like it's kind of, it's not a zip, it's kind of a zip line. It goes across.
Oh,
and
I've never heard of it
Okay.
referred to that, but yes, I do know what you
What
mean.
have you
It's
heard
kind of
of
like
it as?
monkey bars, but like it's you gotta like run forward to get the momentum.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
what
and then it slides across like a rail.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I never had one of those growing up, but I've seen one more
Okay,
recently.
we referred to them as flying foxes. What did you call them, Paul?
I don't remember what we called them. I just remember kids would take bets and see if they could get their hand like down quick enough while another kid on the other side would whip it as hard as they could down the rail.
Okay, that's close to what I'm about to say. First, it's not that stupid,
Okay.
but it's not far enough away from it that I can be proud of it. So
Okay.
we would sometimes do this thing where it's like, you know, you're sliding across and you're going down the rail, and you don't want the person that you're about to come in contact with
Yeah.
to get it, so you would whip it hard so that it would
Yep.
bounce really fast and go back to like your buddy behind you.
Mhm.
And I did that, being the cool smart ass that I was,
Right.
and then I was like falling forward, and then the platform where that I would have like landed on if I had just like done it normally, like a smart person, I hit my arm on it, and that was
Oh.
my first broken arm.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Ow. Yeah, I don't have any comedic ones really. Like the most coincidental, I guess, one I would have would be, as a kid, I fell down a flight of stairs in our house, and it was down into the basement, so I was going to land on concrete. But there was a bag of garbage I had forgotten to actually take out to the garbage like spot outside at the time. So my head landed on the garbage, and that's the only reason I didn't have like an actual like head injury.
Oh man, that's like the Assassin's Creed bale of hay story.
Yeah, there you
basically.
go.
Yeah, there you go.
I must have talked about this on the podcast, because we were podcasting at this point. In college, we went tobogganing outside of our dorms at night, in not like you want to pick a hill that has less obstacles when you go tobogganing.
Uh-huh.
And we went down there, and it wasn't even a big hill, but I hit a rock that was covered in snow. I didn't even know it was there, and I cracked my wrist on my dominant hand.
Oh yeah.
And as a result, I had like a sculpture class where we had to like make stuff in clay, and I just said to the teacher, like, I can't use this hand. Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to sculpt anything. And he was just like, okay. So I didn't have to do the final assignment. I just kept the grade I did have, and so I was just done the class with a fine grade, and I got out of doing the final project. So that worked out nice for me. My
That's pretty
mom was pissed though, because she was like, you know, because I had a fine arts degree, so I was doing a lot of like drawing classes and stuff. And she was like, "That's your drawing hand, you idiot! What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But it worked out. I got way more injured the rest of years later.
Yeah. Playing Quidditch.
Yep. John, I believe you were next.
Oh, yes, sorry. I, for some reason, thought I was at the end of the list there. Gutang Clan writes in and says, do you think modern games need to take into account online streaming? Specifically, leaving an area of the screen with no HUD information, so while streaming, a streamer has a place for their camera. Certain games have all corners filled with HUD info, leaving no good place for a cam.
Nah.
I mean, it's appreciated, but I don't think any game really needs to, per se. Like, it's more
Right.
important to convey information for the actual player.
Totally.
Yeah, like that information is gonna have to go somewhere, right? And you don't want it like in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if the player can see it, that's fine, but no one needs to see specifically, like, I don't know, your map.
If it's a
Naming app or
game
something.
that the dev is clearly built just to get like YouTube likes, like Goat Simulator and stuff like that, sure. But
Sure,
like I think
yeah.
the average game doesn't need to. Like
Yeah.
we're still at a point where we're lucky that a game has a streamer mode, which
Right,
is
like
just
for
like
the
turning
audio
off
and
copyright
stuff?
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a bunch of games that have streamer modes eventually they don't work. Like I got tagged for a Forza Horizon 5 streamer mode song recently.
Oh, okay.
Lame.
Yeah. So
That is an interesting idea, though. I bet some devs have thought about it. It just seems likely, and it seems like it'll be more likely as things go on.
I heard you played against me in Forza or something. What the hell is this about?
so like Forza has their drivatars.
Yeah,
and So
okay.
it just pulled drivatars from like my friends list. So I was racing against you. I think Sean was even in the same race.
I got messaged and they were like, John almost beat you or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, your drivatar kicked my ass on like a Hot Wheels stage or something like that.
Oh, okay. I don't even have that content, so that's weird.
I mean, it's hard to tell really every
Yeah.
year how much the drivatars are actually there, because it'll just pull like my entire friends list, and it's like, I know for a fact you haven't played one of these games either ever or for years.
Right.
So are you just like putting the person's name there so I can be like, oh, I'm driving with my friend Peter? Or
I think
like,
so. Yeah. That's
like
weird.
Might be,
actually
yeah.
happening. Because they advertise it as like, oh, and their driving style will be in there, and it's like, I don't know, they're driving like every other car, and also there's no way for me to even like check your work, so you could say anything.
Sure, yeah.
All right, last question from Valcor MB. Have you ever been to a live performance for video game music? Do you enjoy when games use full orchestras for their soundtrack?
Yeah, to both.
What did you go see?
Video games live every time it's been here.
Wow, okay. I've
Is
done
that
video
just
games live.
done now, by the way? Sorry to tangent, but like
Last time I saw, they had dates in like Brazil and stuff, but that was 2020, so I don't know. I'll find out right now while we talk.
yeah, like did all the Tellerico bullshit get it shut down? Did he just let go of it so he could work on the Amico, or like?
That's kind of what I'm
He's
thinking.
He's busy with the Intellivision.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So they had one show in 2021 in Texas, one show in 2022 in Washington, and they had one show January 3rd, so about a week and some ago, in Salt Lake City.
Does it say if Tommy was there, or is it just like the company's just kind of going on its own now?
It doesn't say. These are just the dates. So I'm guessing he probably wasn't. Hard to tell.
Yeah.
I've been to video games live once. That was back when I was in Calgary. That was forever ago.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Not including
one of their
like,
E3 shows.
Yeah, the Game Awards had an orchestra there for music, but I don't think that counts.
Yeah. I like those. They're fun. I like listening to video game music with a full orchestra.
And then, do you enjoy when games use full orchestras? Yeah, I enjoy it. I don't think you need it every time. It depends on the game, but like, why not?
No, it doesn't fit every game, but when it does, like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want trombone.
Yeah.
True.
Like, that's why, like, the Mario Kart 8 soundtrack, like, it's not an orchestra. It's more like a full band, but, like, it's enjoyable. It's not just beeps and bloops.
Yeah.
That'll do it for questions. If people would like to send in questions for next week, it is topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What's your game of the week?
F-Zero AX.
Chained Echoes.
And I'm going to give it to God of War one last time.
Nice.
All right, that'll do it. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye.